Hello YouTube, Infinite Magicraid community, Gandalf here. I thought I'd share with you a little bit of a recent accomplishment with Purgatory of Seven Sins. Here you can see on the Ultimate Trial, I have just managed to break the 3.2 bill mark. And I'll say working on the boss is probably more significant than trying to push a few extra star levels. So, for example, if you're at the 1.6 to break into the next bracket from here, if you're close to 1.6 and trying to break into the next bracket, you're looking at 2,000 extra experience and one extra shard, as opposed to when you're working over here and you're trying to break through to the next bracket. You're talking about like just 100 extra experience, and 150 is kind of like the major milestone. Afterwards, it's still just like one extra experience all the way up till like 180, which is very hard to push. Now I know we recently got a few heroes that's going to help with some of the options. For example, here Freud will help with pushing the poison team just because he has a poison tag, and it's a really nice support if you have E3. Maybe once I get him at E3, I'll push that one a little bit more. But I anticipate hitting 150 soon. Just haven't really given it too much of a try. But let's talk about these teams. So you can see these teams are pretty standard. I see Love Actually decided to use a HP burn team instead of the direct damage team. Klee went with the direct damage option, did a little bit more. Silly Cloud also went with HP burn team. For me, I went with the direct damage team, and I was able to do 500 or so. Couple of things of note. So I think here's the value I'm going to add to you is, as much as you can see the team, you might not see where to potentially prioritize the investment, or potentially, what exactly am I building on these teams? So that's what we're going to go into in this video today. Hopefully helping you maximize your damage and squeeze the last little bit out as possible. So first of all, as I explained last time, the boss have 3 stages. Well, it's 3 continuous fights. So as the fight progresses, the boss hits harder and has more defense. What we will see is that on each of these teams, there's a few things to note that you will think a little bit differently on. First of all, on Nordak, normally I will run like pristine attack with like a crit damage build. But here, because the majority of the damage actually going to be coming from his HP, because he's not going to have any defense at all, because it's going to be reduced to 0. It's better to just leave the Dwarven Blessing Aura, in my opinion, and just switch over for the damage build on him. All right, here, let me just show that just a little bit longer in case you're wondering what that means. Just crit damage, HP, maximizing the damage output from the emblems. When we come to Agatha, you block the last skill. Nicholas, you actually want to prioritize on the second skill. Whoops, I forgot to do that. Because really it's all about making sure that your speed up is up as often as you can. And that's kind of it for the first team. Unfortunately, Henle is not going to be able to take a lot of damage to really max out the energy to do damage, but it's what it is. If you happen to have, I guess, Boss Slayer, it will probably do a little bit more damage than Recovery Horn. I had it on her before, but just had to move it around a little bit. Ben Austin, Skill Master, if you can max it out a little bit. Ideally, I mean, here it really doesn't matter on this particular team because it's a bruiser team. But other than that, I mean, you do have the option of running Traveler Diary, because here you can increase the skill damage and crit damage for an entire team, right? So there's a random chance of improving that. So having one of your allies have Traveler Diary is always helpful. Always make sure you have Combat Vanguard and Skill Master, which will help for sure. When we look at the second team, what you will notice is on this particular setup, we're able to get Bethany and Dez a lot easier now because they're kind of guaranteed on these boxes very frequently. What I would say is it's more important to get Dez to if we talk about their exclusives in terms of what matters most, it's actually exclusive 3, where you're now able to get enfeebleness and down on the enemy as well. So that means 40% extra direct damage, which is going to be super helpful for this particular team. And that's what, some of the other players are able to hit the, 1 bill mark with this particular team. Bethany's exclusive 3 is going to allow her to do more damage, but Bethany isn't actually the one that's going to be doing majority of the damage. So it's probably more important to just have exclusive 1. So exclusive 1, Bethany will be suffice, because what you're getting is actually, you know what? You don't even need exclusive 1 even, because what you're really getting is just, trying to get Bethany to do more damage, but Bethany isn't the one that's actually doing majority of the damage. All is coming from Jingle Bell. So this is where kind of stacking all of your resources in Jingle Bell where you can, in terms of your damage, blessings, your really good gear, maxing out your aura on Shield Smash. If you can afford to max out the Echo as well, it's worth it for more damage. Clearly, I still have room to go on both of these. Wukong, I have mine on Boss Layer. Some of you might have it on Grand Hit Master Aura. Here, Boss Layer obviously will do a little bit more damage, but that's that. Nothing too special about this particular team. Maybe one thing to note is for Rister, I would say only use Lightning Ball once. You open up with Unbreakable Pack and Lightning Ball, because afterwards, Bethany is going to be able to consistently provide the defense down. But on turn 1, it's always nice to squeeze that extra little bit of damage out with just 1 Lightning Ball. So this will cast on Unbreakable Pact into Lightning Ball, and because we have the little 1 here, it will no longer cast Lightning Ball. So we get a joint attack with Jingle Bell, just squeezing out that tiny extra bit of extra damage there. Sometimes, especially if you're at just the threshold, like every little bit is going to help. So now we look at the final team in terms of the build. The first thing to call out is when it comes to Little Jack, this is where really looking at Little Jack's damage and why Little Jack is very effective and a better option than to say trying to do Jingle Bell on the last team. Because Little Jack, first of all, provides that 40% attack down as a passive. He's also going to have detonation damage as a bulk of where his damage is coming from, which ignores defense. When the boss has really high defense, this is going to make a difference, right? What I would say is you want to prioritize his mastery and get his mastery to... You don't need to stack all in mastery. You really should split between mastery and skill damage. And that's why you see I have went from penetration set over to devour set when I actually had decent subs on it. And if there are crit damage, it's not that bad, because you're going to be running Shield Smash Aura on him. So you're going to have the penetration as well to be able to hit through all that extra defense. So here you can see that I think, I'm not even at any stars on this. Bizarre Flame, definitely, as you increase the stars on this is going to boost this damage a lot. Ideally, you should have, 2 sets of Devouring Set, but of course, Devouring Set is a bit hard to get and is kind of a pay-to-win set there. But the key here is, if you notice, my Little Jack is actually not that slow. The idea is that Esther, when Esther boosts Little Jack, and this is the other key thing to note, is because you're running Lydia in here and you're getting the turn meter reduction, you're getting the cooldown reduction. Esther, you should ban you should set it up this way so that it never end up using the blue egg, and it alternates between the yellow egg and the red egg, which is super helpful for a lot of content, because you're basically making sure you always have a revive up and you're getting another cooldown reset from red. Now, of course, there is a benefit of blue, right? The blue inspiration egg. There's like no benefit. It cleanses all the debuff, right? Like if you're manually doing this, what you should be doing is alternate between red and blue, because you want to get rid of all of the the attack down, the skill damage down, that's debuffed on your little jack, and you should alternate between those two eggs. But because I autoed it all the way through, this is kind of the next best option, which is to block off the last one. Ideally, we should be able to set it up on this, and I would like to block off the yellow and alternate between red and blue is the best setup. So this is a little bit of detail there. And then Big Jack. It's important to make sure Big Jack is always making sure the entire team has speed up. Having speed up is more important than to cycle with Little Jack. And here's where speed tuning matters just a little bit, where I kind of made it so that once Little Jack gets the turn meter boost, Little Jack is at 0 turn meter while Big Jack is full. So when you're basically wasting very little turn meter cycling between them. And the way I think about it is you want your Estra as close to Big Jack speed as possible. And then what you want is your Little Jack speed. If you don't have the bunny echo, you're basically getting 25 turn meters. So you take Jack speed divided by 0.75, and that should be just slightly more than Big Jack speed. Now, if you do have this echo, then it will be, I think, 12 plus 25, so that'll be 37. So divide your Little Jack speed by 0.63, and that will be kind of just have that speed just a little bit faster than Big Jack. And that's where kind of your speed tuning really should be at. Now, I don't know what's going on because my screen is spinning here. I think that's kind of all the tips here. I know it's been a little bit of a boring video in a sense you're not seeing the combat through it. I mean, what we can do is probably do tests and just show a little bit of what that actually looks like. I mean, the first one, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, there's nothing much to see here, right? You eventually start to see all of these armor breaks. It will quickly go up to 5 stacks, and then your Nordak is going to be only doing damage whenever he's taking a turn, where he has a little spinning whirl thing here. So that's why your Nordak has to be really fast. Ideally, your Nordak is just a little bit faster than your Ben Austin, and that's probably the most optimal setup, so that I guess the two of them should just have the closest speed possible, so that one doesn't laugh the other, and you're always able to get that little circly thing up, so that you can get damage through. There you saw there was no damage from Nordak because he didn't have the little spinny thing up. Okay, so that's kind of the first team. The second team, you can see what I'm doing here is just simply doing the defense break, right, on the first one, and afterwards it's pretty much, you will see that between Des and Bethany, all of their joint attacks is going to trigger Wukong to jump and attack, and because of all these pursuit and joint pursuits, is actually allowing Wukong to do about half the damage of Jingle Bell, believe it or not. So when I was looking at the overall damage there, where I did about 600 mil on this one, Wukong did 200 of that, which is amazing. And of course, the synergy is really strong in terms of increasing the base attack with all of these pursue. If you can actually get them Bethany up to E3 and put a really good damaging set, you can squeeze damage out of Bethany as well. So that's also a great option to squeeze more damage out of this team if you want to heavily invest into this team. This team will also do really good in Weathering Coast as well. So that's the commentary there. And of course, finally, our last team here is, if you watch what's going to happen, and I'll play this a little bit slower just so that you can see my bunny is going to egg the Little Jack, and Little Jack is actually going to go right before Big Jack, right? So I guess, my Little Jack's a little bit faster than I need it to be, but ideally bunny should be even faster, just so that the turn meter there really stay in sync very well. It doesn't have to be at Big Jack speed, because whoever Big Jack does the turn meter increase, he's going to give that 25% to Esther, but he's not going to get any turn meter. So it's like on a 3 or 4 turn cycle. But overall, just get your Esther, speed up there as well if you can. It's going to help you in PvP as well. But you can see I'm just cycling between the red and yellow buff there. And this is going to be really helpful, as you're going to see me do this again in the other video where I go over Endless Cloister as well. But hopefully this really helps. We see a lot of success with a lot of other players. I will love, maybe next time what I'll do is I'll actually manual the last team, so that I alternate between the red and blue egg and show the damage difference. Like, just by being lazy, I was able to hit 2.3 bill on that damage, but you can see some of the other players, like everyone's pretty much using that team, right? And they're like hitting 3.6. Knowing Clee can probably do better. He probably just lazy and skipped. I know Love actually manualed for sure, and he got like 4.3 on that. So yeah, if you have the time to manual, this team can definitely do a ton of damage. If you're lazy, just make sure you ban the last skill so that you alternate between red and yellow, and that will make sure that you cycle your cooldown and be able to let your little Jack do his ultimate skill very frequently, and that's the one that does a ton of damage. You need an E3 Jack to do that. So hopefully this guide has been helpful. Let me know in the comments below. Hopefully this helped you push through and work faster towards having a 5-star on your on the Miasma Dragon Pet, and he'll be a nice damage booster for your dot damage teams. There you have it, and I'll catch you in the next video. Gandalf out.